Hello everyone, this is Khan Studio, and in this clip, we'll be spoiling the movie In the Land of Saints and Sinners.
It's the story of a ruthless assassin who wants to start a new life as an ordinary gardener, but his dark past won't let him go easily.
Before watching, please give us a like and share to support our work.
Let's see how exciting the movie is. The story begins in 1974, when the conflict in Northern Ireland was escalating. Members of the IRA planned to assassinate their rivals by bombing a car in front of a shop their two targets had just entered, setting a 30-second timer, just enough for the bomber to escape.
But things didn't go as planned. A mother and her 3 children walked by, and one boy dropped his book in front of the shop.
The family paused right in the danger zone. Doireann, the team leader, ordered them to get out, but no one understood her.
Suddenly, the bomb detonated, claiming 6 lives at once.
The terrorist group quickly fled the scene, torched their original car to destroy evidence, and switched to a new one, heading to hide in the town of Glyn-Silly.
However, a minor accident on the way damaged a roadside
The scene
sign.
shifts to the leading actor, Finbar, an aging assassin living peacefully in this small town.
He hides his true profession. Everyone thinks he works with books.
His close friend is a local policeman named Vinny, and they often have shooting competitions.
Finbar usually wins, taking money from his police friend.
As Vinny drove Finbar home, they stopped to check the damaged town sign, noticing a reddish-purple paint smear. They guessed it came from a car, likely the work of vandals or drunk drivers, which became Vinny's job to investigate. Before entering his house, Finbar found a tree branch on his car, a secret code from Robert, his gang leader, signaling a new assignment.
Finbar opened his glove compartment and found an envelope with a picture of Bart McGinnis, the new target. As Finbar drove into town for the mission, a radio news report detailed a car bombing in Belfast by a terrorist group, with 3 children among the victims. The scene cuts to the next morning. Finbar drove into the woods outside town, having tied up his victim and put him in the trunk.
At the destination, Finbar told Bart to follow him, carrying a sapling, while Finbar himself carried a gun and a shovel.
The old man told Finbar he could just shoot him.
No need to walk.
Finbar ignored him and ordered Bart to continue.
Upon reaching an open area, Finbar immediately ordered him to dig his own grave. Bart looked around and noticed many trees planted side by side.
He exclaimed, "You've killed a lot of people." Once the hole was deep enough, Finbar gave his victim 1 minute for any last words. Bart said he wouldn't beg for his life, admitting he had done many terrible things in his youth due to his temper.
He had killed many people, but knew he couldn't turn back time.
So, in his old age, he tried to make amends by dedicating himself to doing good for society, helping those around him as much as possible.
Bart advised Finbar to try doing good deeds before meeting an end like his.
When the minute was up, Bart sang a song, calmly awaiting death. Finbar hesitated, moved by Bart's words.
However, he eventually pulled the trigger.
Finbar took the sapling
and planted it on Bart's grave, as he always did with his victims.
Then, Finbar went to Robert's house, the gang leader. Robert's mother mentioned she had made Finbar's favorite dessert and saved some for him. But Kevin, another young assassin, had brazenly taken the dessert. Finbar informed his boss that the mission was successful and asked for his payment. Robert mentioned there might be a new job next week, but Finbar asked to pass this job to Kevin instead.
He wanted to do something else. The boss immediately asked what he planned to do.
"Isn't this what you do best?" Finbar replied that he wanted to garden. Robert accepted Finbar's decision, albeit reluctantly, knowing he couldn't stop him. Finbar drove home, feeling relieved and happy after quitting his dirty work and choosing a new path in life.
He started tidying his house and digging soil to plant trees that evening.
He had dinner with his neighbor Rita.
They talked about plants, and she gave him advice on gardening.
Rita asked about Margaret, Finbar's wife, who had passed away long ago. Finbar reminisced, saying he met her at the bookstore where she worked, which sparked his interest in reading.
The sound of Rita's sick husband coughing came from the next room, so she excused herself to take care of him. After dinner,
Finbar encountered Moya, an acquaintance's daughter, near the bridge.
She said she was fishing for her next meal.
When a fish bit,
Moya leaned forward
and accidentally dropped her food container into the water. Finbar tried to help her and happened to see a bruise on the girl's neck.
Moya, afraid of being scolded for not bringing food home, quickly ran off. Later that night, Finbar went to see Sinead, Moya's mother, at the pub, asking her not to scold Moya for dropping the food.
He said it was his fault for distracting the child. After finishing his business, he stepped outside and saw Moya with a horse. Finbar approached to comfort her, saying he had spoken to her mother and she probably wouldn't be too angry. Then, the old man walked her home and encountered a stranger coming out of Moya's lodgings.
The man scolded the girl for being late, and she seemed very afraid of him. From their conversation, Finbar learned the man's name was Curtis.
He was Moya's uncle and spoke rudely to his niece, also acting provocatively towards Finbar. Finbar suspected this man might be the one who had hurt the girl, causing her bruises. Curtis took the bag of supplies to a small cottage, which was the hideout of the IRA terrorist group.
Curtis was Doireann's brother, and Doireann was married to Shane, Syned's Moya's brother. Every day, the young girl had to bring food to Curtis, who would then pass it on to the other members. At that moment, one man was busy making a bomb, while another complained to Curtis that he hadn't brought enough food. The next day, Finbar brought a large food container to Syned to compensate for what was dropped in the water.
He also stopped by to talk to Moya, who was sitting alone looking sad. He saw her playing with a bullet. She also had bruises on her wrist, so he asked if it had anything to do with Curtis.
Moya teared up, looking at Finbar as if she wanted to confide in him, but didn't dare to speak. When Curtis shouted for her, the girl immediately ran back home.
Curtis teased Finbar, asking if he was visiting so often because he was trying to woo Syned. Syned apologized to Finbar for Curtis's rude talk and handed Curtis the food box so he would leave.
Finbar watched the young man walk away, thinking he had to do something about
this scumbag. Finbar went to see Robert again.
This time, he brought the bullet he got from Moya to show him. It had a cross symbol on it.
He wanted to know which group it belonged to,
but Robert immediately warned him
to stay out of it.
It might be members of the IRA. They would surely come after him,
but Finbar couldn't accept it,
especially letting someone who hurt children and scared them into silence get away. He wanted Kevin to handle it and was even willing to pay for it himself, but Robert insisted.
His team would definitely not get involved.
So, Finbar left in disappointment, leaving the bullet on Robert's desk. He went after Curtis alone, following him to the beach, waited until he finished swimming, and on the way back, the old man offered him a ride.
Finbar chatted about his favorite activity, which was rabbit hunting.
Curtis was interested in seeing the gun he used, so Finbar pulled over, opened the trunk, and showed the young man his prized gun. He waited for a moment when Curtis was distracted, then hit him with the gun butt until he fell, tied his hands, and threw him in the back of the car before taking him to the killing ground.
But when he was about to take him out,
Curtis attacked with a knife and ran. However, Finbar managed to shoot and stop him.
The other man fell to the ground.
He was about to shoot again, but the gun misfired. Curtis seized the opportunity. He lunged at Finbar and tried to stab him. It was Kevin, who was hiding nearby,
who shot Curtis in the head.
The young assassin revealed to the leading actor.
Robert ordered me to keep an eye on you.
So Finbar asked for help disposing of the body.
While Kevin was working, he talked about a victim who knew that once he stopped digging, it would be time to die.
So the victim kept digging endlessly without resting until...
Kevin laughed as he spoke, mocking the dead, until Finbar seriously asked, "Is killing people just a joke to you?" Kevin shrugged indifferently and pushed Curtis's body into the pit. After that, Finbar treated Kevin to a meal as a thank you.
The young assassin boasted that he had killed a woman too.
Finbar immediately reprimanded him for taking on killing jobs indiscriminately. Killing people is not fun.
You shouldn't laugh at the dead. Kevin was displeased.
He said he worked to earn money, and Finbar had definitely killed more people than him. The old man couldn't take it anymore and punched him.
Meanwhile, Doireann was waiting for her brother in front of the house.
She was worried Curtis might be in danger because he had been missing since yesterday.
As EMU said, Curtis might have gone back to Belfast.
But Doireann didn't think so. If her brother were to return, he would have told her first.
Conan, another team member, brought a newspaper. Doireann and Curtis's names were publicly revealed as suspects. Conan suggested fleeing abroad, but Doireann refused to go anywhere.
She would wait with her brother. They started to disagree, causing Doireann to become furious, throwing a glass at her friend before rushing out to find Curtis. She went to her brother's room
and found his gun and one bullet missing.
Syned said she hadn't seen Curtis, but guessed he had been arrested by the police. Soon, Doireann wouldn't escape either.
She had seen the news.
She knew what terrible things they had done.
Doireann got angry and choked her sister-in-law, emphasizing that they were fighting for freedom.
Which included Sinead and her child too. Show some respect when you speak.
Doireann went looking for her brother at the beach. She saw a family, father, mother, and child nearby.
It made her sad, reminiscing about the past mission's mistake that destroyed the lives of an innocent mother and her children. Doireann contacted someone in her organization to check if Curtis was in Belfast.
They denied it and suggested she look for clues with the local contract killer gang, which was Robert. Doireann and 2 others drove to the address they were given. Upon arrival, she went inside alone. Robert knew in advance
that someone from the IOI would come.
He was so worried he accidentally knocked documents off his desk, causing the bullet Finbar left to fall to the floor. Doireann entered brazenly and said she was looking for a man named Curtis. Did he know anything?
Robert played dumb,
lying that he'd never heard the name.
He said he was busy and asked her to leave.
As the woman walked closer, her foot stepped on the bullet. Doireann picked it up. She tried it in Curtis's pistol. It had the same symbol as the other bullets.
She ordered him to tell her the whole truth.
Robert couldn't hide it anymore, saying her brother was dead. The killer was Finbar, his former subordinate, but they no longer worked together.
He claimed he had nothing to do with it.
Doireann wanted to know who was behind it, who gave the order. The situation was tense. Just then, Robert tried to grab a gun from his drawer, but he wasn't fast enough. Doireann shot first, killing the older man instantly.
Robert's mother, startled by the gunshot, called out for her son.
Doireann, standing behind the door, said Robert deserved to die. Doireann didn't want to harm the old woman, so she asked her to go back to her bedroom and wait until she left. Doireann stole the deceased's money and set off to find the leading actor. At that time, he was at Rita's house. She had lent him a book about gardening. Kevin came to Finbar's house to inform him of Robert's death. They both rushed to the scene. The mother explained that a woman came looking for a man named Curtis and then killed her son, but the mother didn't see the shooter's face.
Finbar and
Kevin helped destroy evidence of Robert's illegal activities and asked the old woman to call the police after they left. Doireann ordered his EMUs to find the target's address at a shop in town. His EMUs claimed to be Finbar's nephew, visiting his uncle on holiday. The shop owner, who knew Finbar, easily gave him the address.
As his EMUs was about to leave,
Vinny the policeman walked in.
Vinny looked at the stranger suspiciously and asked the shop owner who he was.
The owner said he was Finbar's nephew. Vinny was even more surprised because he never knew his best friend had a nephew. Doireann's group broke into Finbar's house late at night, ransacking the place.
They found a photograph of Finbar when he was a soldier.
At the same time,
Finbar was returning home with Kevin. Before reaching the house, he noticed the lights were on and decided to wait by the roadside. Kevin prepared his gun and watched from a distance.
The young man said that without Robert, he considered himself unemployed.
Finbar asked
Kevin
immediately
get into
this line of work.
Kevin explained.
He got into a fight at a pub and beat the other guy
Robert
badly. Must have seen his potential for violence, so he invited him to work as an
Finbar
assassin.
then
Shared his own story. He couldn't remember how many people he had killed.
The war had changed him completely.
His wife was dead.
Life felt like a black hole until he met Robert. Time passed until morning. Doireann and her group waited all night, but no one came to the house. His EMUs guessed the other party knew and might be waiting for them. Doireann decided to show her superiority. She threatened her enemy
by furiously smashing his car, retaliating for taking the life of her beloved brother.
Rita heard the noise and came out of her house to see, but before she could say anything, Doireann came straight at her, cursing her out and warning her not to interfere.
Finbar had done something she couldn't forgive. Kevin aimed his gun at Doireann,
but Finbar stopped him, afraid Rita would get caught in the crossfire.
Rita, however, wouldn't be silenced.
She retorted, calling Doireann a loudmouth, which enraged Doireann, who punched Rita, knocking her unconscious.
Finbar, seeing this, was furious, but couldn't do anything at that moment.
When Doireann's group left, the old man rushed to help Rita. He called a doctor without revealing his name.
Kevin took Finbar and his cat back to his place for temporary shelter.
Finbar noticed a guitar and some records.
Kevin said that one day, he would write his own songs.
But if he saved enough money, he might just chill in California.
Finbar saw remnants of a newspaper in the fireplace. It was news about the car bomb in Belfast.
He believed the people hunting him were the bombers.
Finbar went into town to buy a newspaper, which allowed him to see the faces of his enemies. After that, Finbar went to Synod's house and sneaked into the room where he had seen Curtis enter. Inside, he found a quantity of bomb-making materials. Before leaving, Finbar secretly took a hand grenade.
Doireann and her group went to a community rugby field. Conan showed them a newspaper. It featured photos and names of him, Curtis, and Doireann.
His teammates agreed they should flee the country before being caught. If she was angry at that killer, she should burn his house and cut down, then escape. But Doireann disagreed.
All this time, she had fought for Ireland's freedom. She would absolutely not retreat or flee the country.
Now, she wanted to know who ordered her brother's killing. If she couldn't find Finbar, she would go back and interrogate the grocery store owner
or his friends.
Finbar arrived at the stadium
and tried to spot the enemy group.
He found Doireann,
who had gone to the restroom alone. He followed and waited for her, but Doireann snuck up behind him. She asked, "Finbar, is it?"
When he turned, she quickly drew her gun, threatening him and demanding he reveal who ordered Curtis's assassination.
She pressured him, saying if he didn't tell her, she would kill him right there.
Finbar tried to negotiate, to keep the peace here. "I think we've both killed each other's people.
I killed Curtis. You killed Robert. It should be even, and we should end all this." But Doireann refused a truce, claiming her victims were all bad people, and Curtis was family.
Finbar retorted immediately that she should know well what Curtis was like. The other party was stunned speechless for a long moment, because she knew her brother was quite wicked.
So, she asked him to name the person who ordered the hit.
Finbar offered to bring that person to her and proposed meeting there at PM sharp, but Doireann wanted to change the location to a pub instead. She said it was crowded there. Finbar warned he wouldn't let her harm anyone there, but she threatened back.
"Tonight, just show up as agreed. No tricks, or I'll tear this town apart."
Later, Finbar met with Kevin and told him what happened. That woman wouldn't give up easily, so he would deal with her and her accomplices himself. Then, he brought his cat to Moya and asked her to take good care of it. As the appointed time neared, they waited in front of the pub. Finbar asked Kevin to give some money to Robert's mother, and the rest he gave to Kevin.
The young man immediately refused and offered to help eliminate the group.
Finbar shook his head.
"This is my war.
I'll take responsibility myself.
And I want you to quit being an assassin.
Go follow your dream in California."
Kevin was deeply moved
by the old man's kindness and sincerity, which he had never received from anyone before.
The young man firmly insisted on fighting alongside him, but Finbar asked Kevin to trust him and get as far away as possible.
Finally, Kevin decided to say goodbye and drove off. Finbar walked into the pub and met Vinny, his policeman friend.
Vinny suspected Finbar wasn't a bookseller as he claimed and asked what he really did for a living, urging his friend to speak from the heart. Maybe he could help somehow, but Finbar refused to reveal his secret, and Vinny couldn't help him with this matter anyway. Meanwhile, Doireann and her group arrived at the pub. She thought her enemy wouldn't dare do anything violent because it was crowded.
Doireann told the two men she would go in first.
Conan would follow with a time bomb in a briefcase, while SAMUs should keep the car running, ready for a quick escape. Doireann walked into the pub just as Moya arrived to show her mother the cat. Finbar quickly led the girl out and told her to go home. Doireann sat down at the counter, facing Synead, her sister-in-law.
Vinny stepped out for a smoke and passed Conan, who had just walked in carrying the briefcase and setting the timer. Vinny noticed the reddish-purple car.
It had paint scrapes from a collision.
He walked closer and saw that the man in the car was also looking at him.
His police instincts immediately warned him that something was wrong. Vinny went back into the pub and discreetly watched Conan from a distance.
Finbar met Doireann again. He invited her to talk behind the pub, but she refused, threatening to shoot him if he moved. Finbar honestly admitted that he himself had killed Curtis.
There was no one else who ordered it.
But Kevin appeared behind him. He spoke to Doireann, taunting her, and even dropped a witty line. Before becoming a saint, one must have been a sinner. And Kevin confessed, "It was me. I killed your brother, Curtis." Hearing this, Doireann didn't hesitate. She shot Kevin in the torso. Once their leader opened fire, Conan provided covering fire.
Gunshots echoed through the pub. The people there panicked and fled.
Finbar shot Conan down.
Vinny grabbed the briefcase and ran outside the pub.
When he opened it, he found it contained a bomb.
So he ran as far away from people as possible. Meanwhile, as AMUs, waiting in the car, saw everything,
he ran to intercept and struck Vinny down.
retrieving the bomb briefcase. Doireann hid behind the counter, looking for a chance to shoot Finbar again.
Kevin got a chance to shoot her from behind.
The young woman collapsed as well, but Kevin was now severely injured. As for Finbar, he saw SAMUs about to throw the grenade into the pub, but the old man shot his arm in time. This caused the grenade to slip from his hand, landing near the entrance, and it was SAMUs who took the full force of the blast.
Finbar came to help Kevin, scolding the young man for returning.
The other replied immediately that the money was still in the car, but that was all he could say. He was then shot again by Doireann, this time a headshot. Kevin died instantly. Conan attacked Finbar but was no match for the old man's skills and was coldly killed. Doireann, badly injured, tried to walk back to the car, but the keys were gone.
So she fled to the church instead. Finbar grabbed a shotgun from his car, intending to follow and finish off the woman, but Vinny appeared before him. Finbar was slightly startled and lowered his gun.
They looked at each other without speaking until Finbar walked past. Now, Doireann was in the church.
When Finbar arrived, he came to ask God for help.
The other, though severely injured, spoke confidently. God knows what I'm doing.
I've done what I wanted. Finbar told her immediately he would bury her body next to Curtis's, and soon the young woman died. Later, Finbar decided to leave town to start a new life and do good deeds. Before leaving, he met Rita, who praised him, saying, "Those evil people couldn't do anything to you." Finbar apologized for causing her trouble and returned the gardening book, but she asked the old man to keep it in case he might try planting again. Finbar said goodbye and asked her to take good care of herself. On his way, he secretly left the book as a gift for his dear friend Vinny.
After repairing the town sign, Vinny found the book. He opened it and read, while Finbar was driving out of town, and the movie ends there. This was In the Land of Saints and Sinners 2003. It scored 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
On Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it 83%, and the audience score was 74%. If you like this genre, give it a 1.
You can watch the full movie on Apple TV.
But if you like this clip, please press like.
If you want to see more clips, press subscribe. This is Khan Studio, the land of fun and excitement. Signing off. Goodbye.